Hi, I'm Dorfus, and welcome to my continuing midlife crisis. If you're anything like me, and I'm assuming you are because you've been served this particular video, you've wondered about Sony's super high-end, really expensive Walkmans. Walkmans. We're going with Walkmans. These things are egregiously expensive, and you never see any reviews about them. What are they like? How do they do? Let's unbox one and see what they do. Or how they do. I don't know. So the box is really dense feeling. It reminds you that you've been absolutely gouged on storage. I mean, this thing is the better part of $1,300 and you're only getting 128 gigs. That's kind of a bummer. It has this cheap feeling cardboard sort of surrounding it. It doesn't feel awesome. It's in line with a lot of other Sony products. The design language is very similar to their sort of mid-range headphones. But once you get past that, you're greeted with this really sort of interesting little box that has a compartment right on the front. It is very heavy, and as far as something made out of what are clearly recycled materials goes, this is the nicest thing I've ever felt. Speaking of felt, when you pull out the little drawer, you've got this nice cloth, sort of, made out of a kind of recycled felt. It is really thick and really nice, and the device inside is definitely going to be safe by the time it gets to you. As for the device, you pull up this tab at the top, and then you've got your Walkman. It is surrounded in a wax paper, kind of. Mine, of course, was nicer before I pretended to re-unbox it, but, you know, here you go. But let's put aside the Walkman for a second and check out the real prize, the accessories. For this price, you'd expect some pretty nice accessories. Let's start with this little booklet of papers, very classic Sony, no staples here, and the thing that really, you know, all the value here is represented by this little USB A to C cable. The device won't even charge at full speed on this. I don't know why Sony included it. It is definitely not the best. But the resale value of your device will be ruined without it, so put it back in the box when you're done and just kind of keep it to the side. I know I'm using the descriptor nice a lot to describe this thing, but it has a very tangible quality. It reminds me a lot of an original iPod. It's got this density to it. I assume that's the 128 gigabytes that you feel when you're picking it up, but the back of it is a very grippy rubber material. It feels great to hold, and it's not something that you're going to ever drop. If we flip it around to the bottom, there's a USB-C socket down there. That's brand new for a Sony Walkman, to my understanding. And the side has these great little super tactile buttons. You never wonder what you've just pressed. Flip it around and you've got a micro SD card slot, which you're gonna need, and a hold switch. Last, you've got the top, and you've got a balanced output and a regular headphone jack. Two little rubber gaskets are included to keep them safe when they're not in use. So why is this thing worth more than any other Android-based music player? Heck, even the Sony ones that you've probably seen on TechMoan or Linus Tech Tips, they bemoan the audio quality that you get for around, $500 to $700. This is nearly twice that much, so why should you care about it? Of course, sound is subjective. Sony, I think, at the higher end, they know how to make a natural sound better than almost anybody. You won't find sound that extends infinitely in every direction, but the timbre of things is spot on. It's like a perfectly mixed cup of tea or a well-made drink. No flavor is out of place. Nothing hits you strangely. Personally, I think any audio experience is more like a tasty stew than anything else. Each part of the signal chain is a different ingredient cooked in a different way, and sometimes you struggle to find components that play nicely together. I hear the term sweet and smooth applied to audio a lot, and I think some of that comes back to how sound decays in space. So yeah, with the right equipment, the audio is spectacular. But how is the playback experience? If you're using Sony's Walkman software, it's great. The screen is perfectly legible. It has a really snappy, really responsive feel to it. If you're using Spotify or Apple Music, it is honestly not quite as good because it is not made for an Android screen that size. And if you don't use Sony's player, you're missing out on the most charming feature of this player. I know other people have gushed about it, but these retro tapes are so fun. They actually correspond to different qualities of audiophile as matched to different qualities of real actual Sony tapes. Someone who really cared about tapes made this interface, and I am here for it. I am so stupidly here for it, in fact, that I bought an additional accessory for this thing. This little case cost $140. It is so unbelievably overpriced. But, you know, we blew the money on it, so let's unbox this too. And I'm gonna warn you right here, this unboxing experience is not going to be of the standard of the previous unboxing experience. You get this little case box thing. It's I don't know, it's all cardboard. You know, there's a little piece of paper in there, and it's just the cheapest possible materials to go around this glorious leather case. And it is a very high quality leather. The printing is super nice, and look inside, it's even got a little stamped tape icon. They know exactly who they're making this for, and it's dummies like me. I mean, come on. I do appreciate that the front tape piece is removable. It's incredibly fun. Like, just look at it. Just look at this little guy. Look at it on this little player. You got your cutout for the hold switch. That's totally fantastic. The buttons still maintain the tactility that they had without the case, and you can feel that play button as it presses. It's indented a little bit. It is so freaking cool. But you're gonna take that little front panel off when you're done with the novelty of it. That's just what you're gonna do. And I guess that brings us to the value proposition of this thing. It is either pretty good if you have the right equipment, or just unforgivable if you don't have the right equipment. And that's just what it has to come down to. I think anybody considering a player like this already knows if it is for them. They know that at home they have something that's running in a balanced output, and that no adapter for the iPhone is really going to give them the quality of a player like this. You're not going to be able to plug in your huge, gigantic, expensive craft-made headphones into just about anything and expect that. You probably have a set of Bluetooth headphones, and no matter how good those Bluetooth headphones are, I absolutely love these final Bluetooth headphones. They're not going to sound any different on this player versus your regular phone. So for me, how does this player actually fit into my life? Anytime I'm listening to music that's not at my PC, I am going to listen to it on this player. I've really enjoyed gathering CDs, ripping them, finding my old FLAC files, really sort of bringing my music back to local storage versus just streaming it. I had a situation when I first used this player where my Apple Music downloaded files expired, and that really sucked. I was on a trip and I did not have access to Wi-Fi, so I couldn't re-up them. It was either get rid of the player as a streaming player or use it as I think it's really intended to be used, which is to curate and gather and find versions of songs you love instead of just relying on whatever's on the internet. That has been almost meditative, I think. I just really enjoy spending, I don't know, 20 minutes a day finding a new album and putting it on the player, digging an old CD out and ripping it. It's been such a nice experience. But yeah, that's this thing. I don't know if I'm right about it. I don't know if anybody else should even buy it. If you look back a little bit, you can actually see that the serial number on mine is something crazy low. It's like 662 or something. They're not selling a lot of these. So, I don't know. Are you one of the people who would buy one? Do you think it's worthwhile? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching.